Here from the Unicorn Advisory. Today, we are going to be looking at setting up a product because it is pretty likely if you are using Kajabi, it is because you want to sell a course, membership, workshop, some kind of training program that you would like to have available on demand for your students. Whether that is something that you sell or whether it's something that you use as a freebie in order to grow your list, either way, you will need to set up a product in Kajabi. So I'm going to take you through that step by step. So the first thing that you want to do is click onto New Product. Once you come into this product area, you're going to see these different options here. Now, something to bear in mind is that even though we have mini course, we have online course, we have dripped course, membership, and we have coaching program, as well as blank and community, all these ones here, all 6 of these are actually identical. They are exactly the same. The only difference is that if you are not sure how to structure and set up your program, this is going to fill with placeholder content. So if you're running a mini course, it's going to show you, the simple lesson and category structure to set that up. If you are doing a dripped course, it is going to show you how you can set that up over a period of weeks. This is going to be a 12-week coaching program. So there's going to be no content in there. There's no reason that you couldn't make a coaching program into a mini course or a membership into an online course. Everything is the same. It's just if you are doing your very first one, sometimes it can be a little bit helpful to see how Kajabi might set it up. So you could always start one of these, see what it looks like, delete it, and then go in from blank if you wanted, or just use that and delete the placeholder content and replace it with your own. Now, one product that is different is this community area. So this is built on a totally different structure and system to these course-related products. So community is for building more of a forum type of environment, something that you might want to use, say, in replacement of a Facebook group where different people can talk to each other. There will be a feed. You can set up different topics. So community is what you will want to look at, perhaps in addition to a membership product. So if you have a membership product where you've got your actual course training information, you might want to have community where people can chat in amongst themselves and meet each other. But yeah, so we're going to focus on this actual course area today. And what I am going to show you is creating a mini course. I'm going to show you what comes up in Kajabi. If you do it blank, I usually do everything blank from now just to save me having to delete all of the Kajabi content, but I'm going to show you this way using a mini course so you can see how this works. So we're going to call this mini course. We can add in a description and a product thumbnail later. I would recommend that you do have a product thumbnail, as there are other places in Kajabi where this will come up. Same with your description, but you don't have to do it to get started. 1280 by 720, memorize that. It is the most commonly used image size in Kajabi. And if you go into Canva and create a custom dimension project in Canva, 1280 by 720, then you'll have the exact sizing that you need to work in. If you're in Unicorn Heroes, we've got a few little examples, template examples for you as well. All right, so once you have created that product, it's going to go add the finishing touches, do the little whizzing around and setting up in the back end, and your product will be created. Now, you will be able to come and change all of those details afterwards, the name, the description, and the actual image that you are using. And once this finishes, adding the finishing touches, I will show you exactly where to do that. Come on, Kajabi, you can do it. Come on. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Usually it's pretty quick. I'm thinking 30 seconds or less. There we go. You are not going to have to have me playing elevator music with my mouth or singing, worse. Okay, so if you're in mini course, you're like, well, I don't want to call it mini course. That's a silly name. Well, then you can come in here to edit details, and this is where you can come and change the title of your course. You can add a description, and you can add that thumbnail in. So that's always easy to come back to. There is a part that we'll get to later, which is where I will say, I'm going to pop it in where your description description goes. So this here, if I say that you can change the description, you come in here to edit details to change that and to add in your image. I'm just going to actually put an image. I'm just going to put a random image in here just so that you can see where the image comes through. Yeah, that'll do. Did it work? I think it's worked. Come on. Maybe it didn't. Maybe I was too quick. There we go. I was too quick. So I'm just going to try that again because I was way too quick trying to do that. I think I clicked copying file. Let's go. There we go. Okay. So now that file is going to be uploaded and this is the thumbnail. So you may want to create something that's your styling. When you do buy Kajabi templates from us, we do include all of these thumbnail images, the images for your actual lessons and everything as well as part of those templates. So yeah, if you're interested in those, let me know. We do have a Kajabi template shop on our site, which doesn't just have page templates, it includes graphics and pretty setups for your actual product as well. So this is our mini course, and in the mini course, it's been set up with a category and 5 different lessons. Now, these lessons here are simply like instructions for you as to what you can put into your content. So you don't have to have 5 lessons in here. This is just Kajabi's suggestion, so you can see what that would be like. You can certainly add additional subcategories, or if you wanted to, you can even add additional categories. So if you wanted to have a couple of different categories, that is how you will add them. And then if you wanted to have subcategories and, for more structure, you can certainly add that as well. Now, I don't recommend that you would need subcategories for a little mini course, but if you have a big course with a lot of content, Unicorn Heroes is our membership, and that is all contained within one product. So we use subcategories for that because there are hundreds of lessons and we want to be able to categorize them to make them a little bit easier to find. You can also add a new post here, which is just going to pop it in. The good thing is we're going to create a new category. Testing post here. We'll just create this. And again, with categories, you can come back in at any time and add your description and your recommended image. But say we wanted to move a couple of these, like the what happens next, into this testing category. So you can just drag and drop these around. So that is how you can move. And maybe you want to make this testing. I don't know why I call it testing post because it should be category. Maybe you actually want to make that a subcategory. Oops, it's got a red mark. There we go. So this is going to show that this, hang on, did it work? Okay, we've now moved this up here. Oh, I'm pretty sure there is a way we can move it. Oh my gosh, my dragging is, it's doing it, but it's not holding. Why is it not holding? I'll have to try this another way. No. Oh, I think it's because it's a draft. Here we go. I'm going to publish it and see if that works. No, it's not working. Why is it red? So it is not working. There is a way. I know there is a way. I'll have to come back and do that. I'll have to play around and remember exactly how to turn a category into a subcategory. And you can collapse those so that if you've got lots of different categories, you can see those and you can then more easily move them around as well. But with this testing one, we're going to leave that at the bottom. We're going to open these up and I'm going to pop this back into here so we can see what that is like. So we've got our categories, and if you want to edit that, you can click on here or just go into it. You can add a description and you can add an image in there. And if you did want to, we're going to add this subcategory. We are able to choose. We might actually want to put it in testing, but we're going to put it in subcategory. So this is our category and post. This is kind of like the back end of your actual course content. So with your products, you have this back end, which is where you add basically all of the information. And then once you've got all of your actual content in there, I'm going to show you and customize how you can make it look pretty. All right, so we're going to put this now. We're going to move this down. Oh, yeah, we did that. Okay, so in your actual individual lessons, this is where you come into the post. Now, the post is like your lesson, the training, etc. So this is going to tell you, what you can do. So Kajabi is going to give you a bit of rah-rah and give you some ideas. But one thing to remember, I sometimes see people creating courses and they'll put their video in, but they'll forget to delete this. So this part here is actually just Kajabi's instructions to you. So I recommend do not leave that in there. Now you can add in a video, you can add audio, or you can add an assessment. So I'm going to do another training on assessments and show you how you can add those in. Those are like little quizzes or little information gathering things that you can do at the start of your program or even at the end. So you can do at the start to see where people are at, and then you can offer another assessment at the end. You can even use that as a bit of a pass fail. You can lock content so that they cannot move on until they have completed assessments. So there are a few things that you can do with assessments, which is why I will not confuse things, and we'll come back to that again. But you can't have a video and an assessment. You've got to choose one or the other. So if you did want to put an assessment in, then you would create a new post for your assessment after your last video lesson. If you don't have a video and you just have an audio file, then you can add audio. So once you have added your video, your audio, or your assessment, then you can add some information here in this post area if you choose to. This is a quick explanation of what is in this lesson. So you can add some, if you've got links that you want to share with people. Sometimes I've seen in lessons adding like the entire transcript. It depends on what you want to do. That is a way to do it. You could add the transcript as an actual file for someone to download, or you could pretty much, put the entire transcript, or you can just do a quick summary. Totally up to you. In your downloads area, this is where if you have any worksheets or other helpful information, if you did have a transcript, this is where you can add that file. So add any files that you want to have associated with your lesson down here in the downloads. It's just simply a case of going and adding it, finding it on your computer, and then adding that in. With your post thumbnail, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. When you have a video uploaded, and I might just see if I can, hopefully I've got one in here that I can upload. There we go. We'll just do this one because I know that that one's really quick. So it won't take long to upload. So with this video here, what you can actually do is you can actually play that and pause it and then use the current frame as the thumbnail. So this video is actually a square video, which is why it looks a little bit cut off. So generally, it's just because I used it as an example test video because it was really quick to upload that because it's only like 2 seconds long. But if you are using your videos, just make sure that you do have them set to that 16:9, like landscape. Otherwise, it is going to end up looking a little bit cut off. But, that's kind of the standard video. So you can use that current frame as a thumbnail. If you're like, I don't want to use that. I would like to have something that looks a bit more branded rather than, just picking a frame out of the video. Then you can actually select an image. So you can actually create a post thumbnail. And sometimes in Kajabi, you might see it called a poster image, but it's basically a thumbnail of the lesson. And again, if you get any of our Kajabi templates, then you will have those thumbnails included, the templates for them. So all you need to do is go in and add the lesson name to them, load them up into Kajabi, and you'll have a really beautifully branded area. Now, with the actual lesson, I'm just going to save this and then show you. You can have it set to draft until you are ready, or you can publish it. The other thing that you can do with your lesson is in your comments. You can choose whether you would like to have comments. So where people can ask questions or comment on the video below, you could have that hidden, or you could even have that locked. I usually have those visible so that people can add their comments. Sometimes you may want to hide the comments so no one can actually add comments, and you might want to direct people to a Facebook group or to your community to ask questions. So you've got it all contained in one place. Just depends on how you want to set it up. Personally, I like having the comments on the video. You do get a notification when someone does comment or ask a question, and you can go through and answer all of those. I will not go into automations at this point, but there are some really cool automations that you can do. I will do a whole training on automations. But with automations, when the post is completed, then you can do a whole lot of different things. You can send them an email. So that's nice at the end of a module to be like, yes, you finished module 1. This is so awesome. Here's what you've got to look forward to in module 2, for example. You can add or remove a tag, and you can subscribe or unsubscribe to an email sequence. So there is a few different things that you can do in here, which is pretty cool. All right, so that is in our lessons. So what you want to do is go and add all of your lessons, add all the information, and remember, don't forget to get rid of the Kajabi placeholder content. So this is just telling you how to create a lesson, basically some very, very simple instructions. So if you don't want these posts in here, you can either just come through and delete them and just create your own, or you can come through and just delete the content and change the title of the lesson, and yeah, just get rid of everything. It's totally up to you as to what you want to do. I'm going to leave them in here for now so that you can see what the course looks like on the student portal side of the course when we go into it next. I'm just going to publish this one as well. So you do have some options as well in the Kajabi products in terms of publishing, dripping, and locking content, which is cool. So draft, you might want to set whole categories to draft if you are creating a course with multiple modules and you're building it as you go, and you want to add the different lessons or contents. You might have the actual category itself published, but the individual lessons as draft, so that you don't publish them until a certain time. Like, say, for example, that you want to set your module live at a particular time each week. You can do it via dripping, but you can also just manually go in and turn it on by just turning everything from draft to publish. The other thing that you can do is drip content. Now, you can't drip by lessons. You do need to drip by categories. And say we've got this is your welcome module, and then this is our module 1, which we want to come out the day after the welcome module, so that it will drip out. So the drip content, if you set that, oops, I've gone a little too fast. If we drip our content out on day 1, then that means one day after someone signs up for your course, then that module is going to be dripped out, as in it is going to become available. And if you had if it was a mini course that was like, say, one module or one lesson every day for 5 days, then you would want this might be introduction. This is lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll drip it on day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, the thing is, let's pretend that this was our lesson 1. You can't drip on an actual lesson. You have to drip on a category. So if you are using dripped content, just bear in mind, you may have a bit of a double up. You'll have to have a category and then your actual lesson within that category in order to drip it out. And the drip counts not from, so if we're going to create, I'm going to create another category here, drip lesson 2. So I've got this one coming in here. Now, one thing to bear in mind is when you are choosing the number of days that you want to drip it out, you want to have it set to the number of days from the start of the course, not from the previous drip. So if you are doing it every 7 days, you don't want to have drip 7 day, 7 day, 7 day, 7 day. You want to have drip on 7 day, 14 day, 21 day, 28 day, etc. So the dripping, when it becomes available, is from the time the course starts. Now, generally, that is going to be from when someone actually registers for your course, from when they have access to the course. However, when I go into offers, I'm going to show you some ways that you can stagger that. But generally, it will be better for something that is evergreen, as in that people can join at any time, and their dripping will start from the moment that they are joining. If you are doing a live cohort, then it can be easier just to leave all of these posts draft and then just come in on the day and time that they are due to go live and just simply turn them on. That way, you know, and you can have this saying coming soon or coming on the 14th of July or something like that, so people know when it's going to come, and then just go and just turn them all to published. It's really quick and easy to just toggle in between. It won't take you long just to do it, like just a minute or two. Yeah, if you do want to automate it, there are ways, but I just think that that's just as easy, and it saves the faffing around of setting up the drip. All right, so we've got our little lessons and dripped content set up. So let's assume that we have loaded everything in. Before we go out of this section, I just want to show you a really cool trick. If you are uploading a big course, maybe you are migrating a course from another platform and you've got heaps of videos, this upload multiple videos is going to be a lifesaver. So you can upload all of the videos that you want, up to 20 videos at a time. And when you upload those videos, what I would suggest that you do is name the video file what you want the lesson name to be, because when you upload multiple videos, what it's going to do is it's going to add a category down the bottom with all of your videos in there turned into posts. So it's going to create a post, add the video in, and it's going to name the post whatever the name of the video file is. So if you rename the video file to be what you want the name of the post to be, you can create products and load all your content really quickly. So that is something that I would recommend for you. All right, so that's your kind of back end, creating all of the content, adding in your lesson content. Just as a quick reminder, you can add in your video as your media. You can choose audio if you wanted to. You could even just create just a text only lesson and just have a thumbnail here with just the name of the lesson. That is also fine. You don't have to add a video. And for this one, we've just used the current frame as a thumbnail, but you can load up a thumbnail if you want, and you can add those downloads. So let's presume that we have done that for all of our lessons. Now we're going to go to the part where you can customize it and make it look fancy and make this beautiful student portal that Kajabi is known for, because it's one of the things that I really adore about Kajabi is that you have options with how you display your content. Compared to other systems, it is such a massive advantage. I really, really love that you have options. So in most cases, it is going to default to this theme name Premier product. So this is Premier version 7.0. So it means that it's going to be styled like this. We're going to have a hero section. You're going to have your course content under here and a little sidebar. But you don't have to have it like that. You can actually pick a different theme by just going into pick a theme. And if you have bought a Unicorn Advisory Kajabi template pack, you can upload a theme and it will already be set and look beautiful. So you'll just have to drop in your content. All right, so we have this theme area which has got different Kajabi themes. There are, I think, 15 different themes, or maybe 12 different themes. The two that I use the most with myself and with our clients is the Premier and the Momentum. The Premier I probably use most of all because it has a little bit more flexibility and you can make it look a lot prettier. Momentum is really popular. It's less visual than the Premier. The lessons look quite nice, but also it's probably the one that's most aligned with what you've seen on other platforms like Teachable, Thinkific, Podia, with all of your lessons listed down the side, and they stay down the side, and then your course actually plays in the middle. So if you ever want to check, you can actually either install it and just see what it looks like and go into the gallery. So this is what the main course area will look like. You'll have your lesson categories and lessons down the side. You'll have this welcome area. You'll have different resources and things you can add into this sidebar, and then you can go into the individual lessons. So this is going to show you the modules and what the different modules look like, and then this is how your lesson will show up. So you can get an idea. You can actually, just apply these themes. It's really easy to apply any themes and see what they're like. It's not going to hurt or change your content in any way. If you think of the themes kind of like putting a phone case on, like your actual content, your lessons is like the phone, and these themes are like putting a phone case on. So you swap one out and put another one on, but the actual core information is not being changed. You're just making it look a little bit different. Okay, so Premiere, this is another one. And again, you can go through and have a look at the different ways. This is how it will display the categories. This is how it will display that home area with your categories. You can choose whether you want it to display categories or lessons. And then this is the lesson itself. Now, the thing about Premiere is you can choose a few different ways to display that video, and you have a lot of flexibility in this actual learning area as well, which is why I quite like it. So what we are going to do is get started. I'm going to show you some basics on Premiere so that you can make it look super pretty. All right, if you do have any questions, please just pop them in the comments and let me know. All right, so we've got your course. This is your Premiere product course. Now we need to customize it. So you can click here to customize. You can also go onto this little artist palette to customize. And if you wanted to play around and try 2 different ways of doing Premiere with the same, you can actually go through and rename it so that you can know which one is which. And if you do get one of our templates and upload it and import it, it's going to have the name of the template so you can tell which one is which. Okay, so we're going to go into customize. Now, when you go into customize, when you first set it up, it's going to be set up as Kajabi defaults. Now, if you are wanting to get minimum viable product to get this done as quickly as possible, I would change minimum things. You could spend a lot of time in here changing colors and buttons and making everything pretty and beautiful. But what I would suggest you do is minimum viable. So you might want to change your logo. You can just simply add your logo or just change the text. You can make it a text one, and you can call it mini course, for example. So you can also change it. So I actually recommend this, that under your logo action, if someone clicks on that, but they go to your product home, this is the home area of your product rather than going to your home page. So they stay within your course. If you want people to be able to go to the home page of your website, you can always add that into your menu. Now, Kajabi is going to give you a default menu. If you don't have these other pages set up, just simply delete that or get rid of the menu to either take it off or just show menu. I will do a training on navigation to show you how you can set up your own menus, because something I like to do within courses is actually set up a menu specific for that course. And if you're making recommendations of products, affiliate products that you might want to recommend that go along to send people to a Facebook group, coaching calls, etc., you can add all of that into your menu. Now, if you are doing a mini course, you probably are not going to need search either. So again, you might notice, when you are clicking around, we're getting these little blue dots around anything. Anytime you click on that, it is going to take you to where you need to go. So it's really helpful. Click on it and it's going to open it up in the sidebar here. All right, so we could even get rid of that header altogether if we wanted, totally up to you, or you can have it if you did want a link. The one thing that is in the header, which I do not recommend taking out, is actually an area for someone to access their account. So they can do that from the library page. So if you wanted to keep it simple, just get rid of the header. You can always add it back in later. It's just a turn on, turn off situation. If you did want to add a logo, you can add it in here, and you can change things around in here. You can add calls to action. There's a few different things that you can do in here, but we're doing minimum viable, quick as possible. So Kajabi is just going to give you this default image. So a couple of different ways that you can use this. You can either just create your own image, add a stock image. You can actually create a graphic, but if we're going quick and minimum viable, one of the things that you can do is add an overlay color and just pick one of your brand colors and just put it over and just take a little bit of transparency. So you can still keep that on here, but it's going to be into your brand color. Totally up to you if you want to do that, or if you want to just pick another color that may go with your brand, and just slide this along here to give it some transparency. So I was going to take that image in the background. It's going to put your color over the top of it, but it's still going to have a little bit of texture coming through from that original image. Or you can just find a new image that you like that suits your brand and add that in the background. Totally up to you. Okay, so I'm just going to go back a step. One of the things that I first recommend doing in a course is coming into the settings. If you haven't already got your favicon added onto your site, just add that in here. That's this little image here. It doesn't matter if you don't do it, but it's just going to show up with this Kajabi image as default if you don't add your own one in. You can choose your font. We use Montserrat, so I'm going to go and add in Montserrat, but you can choose your font. If your font isn't in here, just choose the closest font to yours. Now, in terms of the products in Kajabi, the different themes, this Premier has the most options for fonts. When you go right down to some of the really early Kajabi product themes, they might only have like 5 or 6 options. So even if you're looking at this going, man, there's not many options, there's even less options in the other ones. So you've got your options here. So you can just go and choose those, and you can choose a dark font and light font color. So, just a couple of little things that you can do. You can also choose primary color. So primary color is buttons. It's things like this: instructor, bio. So our one is an orange color. Probably going to look a bit gaudy on that purple, but if you did have some other colors, you can add those in as well. And we'll save that, and that is going to update that here. So now we're going to just go through our different sections. So we've got our header, which we turned off. We've got the search bar, which you can turn on or off, and that is in the header. But since we've turned the header off, we've also turned the search off. So we don't have search on this one. If you did want to include search, more helpful if you've got a bigger course rather than a smaller course, then you just need to turn that header on and add that search bar. So hero, this is this section here. The hero is usually the top part of a page, which often has an image. And in that hero, like I said, you can add a background image. Anyway, you've got these little eyes in Kajabi, it is going to give you suggested dimensions. So that is really helpful. This one has got some information here in it as well, and it is centered. So you can choose for that to go onto the left or the right, depending on what suits your brand. Personally, I would only go left or centered because it is left aligned, unless you are going to change that in here as well. So we can add content into our hero. We can also change the spacing. So we could make it really small through to really large. And that would, again, depend on that type of graphic and what you want to have in this space here and how it suits the content. So right now it is showing the product info. So do you remember at the start when I said you can change your product info under the edit details, and it had a course name and a description? Well, this, if you're like, why can't I change this? I want to change this. You have to actually change this. It's pulling the description from that edit details area of your course. So if you want to change this, you'll have to change it there. But there's a way that you can get away with not worrying about that. You can just go and hide this product info, or even delete it if you wanted to, and you can actually just go and add a text area. So you can then choose to add whatever you want. You can move this around above or below the start button. You don't even need to have the start course button if you want to. This is going to take someone to the very first lesson, but you could even get rid of that if you wanted to. Totally up to you. You can format the text. You've got different formats. So you could have that as your awesome course and have that up here. So you've got things that you can play around with. Yeah, you can do whatever you want in that hero section. Like I said, center it, have it, in the middle, whatever you want, and you can add a few different options in here. So we've got a call to action button. So say you have a workbook for your course that you might want someone to download, you can actually go call to action, and you can choose download a file and then pick a workbook. So instead of call to action, you might say download your workbook. Pick that file, Make sure you click open in a new window because that will open it in a whole another window, and that rather than go over the top of the course and kind of close the course out. So you can then pick a file, just upload your PDF or whatever file that you want, and then that's going to, and make sure that people do not miss that. There is absolutely no way to miss that. And then you might want to just hide that start button or get rid of it altogether. So you do have options in here with what you can add. Now we have our actual course area. So this is got the categories and showing the actual lessons, and it's showing our categories with the lessons inside them. But the cool thing is you can choose how you want to show that. So you can show just categories. So if you've got different categories, it's just going to show those main categories. And you may notice that it doesn't show the subcategory, just the main ones. Or if we want to show it at posts, then it is going to show the posts. And these images here, do you remember when I said we set the thumbnail of the video? That is where this image is pulling from. These ones, we never went in and set them, which is why they don't have images. And we didn't set an image for the subcategory either, and any of these categories. So the category images won't show up here, but if we did have it set by categories, then they would show up, which is why I always recommend it's a good idea to create the images or thumbnails for your categories and add them in so that you have flexibility later with the way that you set it up. You can change this from the word categories. You might want to call these training videos, for example, so it doesn't have to be called categories. And there's pretty much most things in Kajabi you can actually change, which is kind of cool. If you have it set up so there are posts showing though, this course contents, this is what we actually called the category on that back end. So if you wanted to change that to be something different, then you would need to change that on the back end. All right, there is one other cool little trick if you are creating a course, especially if it's something where you are creating it first, selling your course and then creating it. So inviting people in, but you haven't yet created the content, doing a beta launch or a founding members launch, which is a really popular and fantastic way to make sure that someone wants to buy your course before you spend months on creating it. And there is a section here called the welcome body. It is really, really helpful, and it allows you to add some extra information about your course. You can create a video. You can put product info in there. You can put those call to action buttons. So you might want to keep this nice and clean and pop this into your so I'm just going to leave this here just so you can see it is going to go the whole way across, and it's going to be very unmissable. So you've got that option. You can actually create code, put a code block in there, which is really helpful if you've got a calendar that you want to embed. So sometimes for clients, we'll use a Google Calendar and embed that in there. So that is helpful too. You can add an image, and the good thing is the image can be clickable. So if, for example, you have a Facebook group, you could say, come and join us in the Facebook group. The image action is go to a URL, and then you just put in groups/your group name. So you can copy the URL of Facebook. Again, I would suggest to open that in a new window so it doesn't overtake your actual course. If you have Zoom training, for example, you can say, join us in the Zoom room. Now, this image size is going to give you these suggested dimensions. However, I've actually used a whole lot of different image sizes. You can use square. You can even use like long, skinny ones if you want to have a few different images, kind of like banners. There is a lot of different ways that you can play around with things in here. And then say, for example, you had this image in here, and you've put that at the top, and that is referring to a Zoom call, for example. When it's finished, you can just either hide or delete it. So we're just going to hide, and it will go away. You can also add text. So if you did not want to have this as the product info, so it's pulling mini course, and this is where your description goes from that edit details area of your course on the back end. If you did not want to have that in there, just get rid of it and instead put in a text. One thing to bear in mind is if you do want to have a video, which I do recommend, like a welcome video is a really great idea, especially if your course may not be starting for a week or two. Add in the video, but you will also need to add an image. So add in your video, load it up, and then also create a thumbnail image for that video, and that is what is going to show. You can have it on autoplay so that it will play as soon as people go in. That can sometimes be a little bit annoying if it plays every single time they go into their product. So I generally don't recommend that. And again, you can adjust the player color to suit your brand, but it's not going to show up until you actually load the video and the image. Now, the reason why I think this welcome body is so cool is, say that all this course content, you want to give people access to something and say, hey, the course is launching on July the 31st, but you don't have the content ready yet. What you can do is come into syllabus and just turn it off. None of that bit that you're doing on the back end, your lessons, your videos, none of it's going to show up until you're ready. And then when you're ready, you can just click show syllabus, which is really, really cool. All right, so what we actually might do is we might leave that there for the moment. So the welcome body is a really helpful part of your Premier course. The welcome body is in the Premier and Momentum themes. Now, next, we've got this little side area here. So you might be like, where did this grow your business image come from? Well, this image was the image that we had, this is in our product sidebar. This was the image that we added as the image for this product. So it's actually pulling that thumbnail of our product image into here. And we've got two different like widgets in this sidebar. We've got course progress, and it says, do you want to show the product image or not? So you can have that or not. And you can choose whether you want to have this saying lessons completed. You can change the wording of that. You can change the accent color of that. So this is the color that's going to show up in here if you want to. Otherwise, it's going to be this primary color. Or you might be like, you know what, I don't actually want that on here at all, in which case you can just hide or delete it. You've got your instructor info, which you can go into. You can, call yourself your guide, your teacher, instructor, whatever you would like to say there. You can add a headshot. It is going to make it circular. Change your name, your title, and your bio information. So again, that's something that you can choose to have or not have. The other things that you can add is a cross-sell. Now, this is so underutilized. I actually prefer to use a custom block. If you have another course or product that you are selling, you can do a cross-sell and just link straight to another offer. So if you have another offer set up, this one's probably not going to look pretty because I don't think it's just a test offer. Then you can actually just link an offer straight into the site. And it's just going to, when someone clicks on learn more, they're going to go through to the checkout page for that offer. We're going to be covering checkouts. But what I really like using is this custom block, because you can customize this a whole lot more. So it looks the same, but you can actually choose the heading. So another course you might like. You can choose to show an image or not, and you can choose the image that goes in here. When you do a cross-sell, it's going to pull the image from your offer, from your checkout page of this annual membership. And you can also choose the actual content that you want to go in here. With this annual membership, it's going to pull this information from that offer. There's no way that you can change it. You actually have to go to the offer. But when you have this custom block, it's going to give you a lot more flexibility. And also, it doesn't need to be an offer. Maybe you want to send someone to your Facebook group. Maybe you want to offer a coaching call that you have set up in Acuity or Calendly or another system. There's lots of different options that you have. And, when you set it up like this, then you've got those options. Maybe you've got a free download that you want people to be able to download, in which case you can download that. Or you can send to a sales page, a landing page, to a URL. So you can send to a Facebook group. So, one of the things that we have done here in the past is, put a picture of your Facebook group and be like, hey, come and join us in the Facebook group. That's where all the conversation happens. And in the sidebar as well, you can also add an image, which just like in this welcome body area here, is clickable, which is really cool. So again, you could just choose a picture. So I'm going to show a recent file. We've got this Facebook group here that we created an image for in Canva. And this time it is a square image. So you can use a rectangle, a square, or a long rectangle, like portrait or landscape. So this one's just adding this in here. And then what we can do is go to the URL and then put facebook.com/groups/unicorn business lounge, for example. So you got options, and that is the awesome thing. And you can open that in a new window so that someone can go to your Facebook group, but they'll still be inside your product. So this sidebar area is something that you can use a lot and do a lot with. And, it just goes to show the flexibility of the Kajabi products. So yeah, you can use that to upsell, cross-sell, do all the selling. But if you are on minimum viable, just get rid of it. Get rid of the sidebar and just have your course. And then you don't need to worry. You can add all those things in, make it pretty. And then when you're ready, you can introduce that sidebar section. So it's all optional. Do not let that hold you up in getting your course up and ready for sale. All right, since we don't have our welcome body ready either, I'm going to turn that off. So we've just got your awesome course and the course content. Okay, now one other thing to set up, which I recommend that you do in your settings, so you can do the footer as well. So I would recommend coming down here, making sure your copyright is not Kajabi. This is something that commonly I see. So change it to your business. So it's copyright to you. Also change these social media icons. It is going to default to Kajabi. If you buy a template from us, it's going to default to the Unicorn Advisory. So update it to be your socials. So your business, whatever it is for your link. Maybe you don't have Twitter, so you can get rid of that. Maybe you have YouTube, so you want to add your YouTube link or channel in there. Pinterest, what else have we got? iTunes, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, there's lots of different options. And whenever you add something in, it's going to automatically just add that icon in there for you. And you can change the color and do things like that in the background. So I'm going to give this pretty crazy. But oh wow, that's quite crazy. Okay, and then you can choose whether you want it to be lined up or in line, which is off to the side like this. And with your social icons, you can choose where you would like them. So you might want your social icons to be in the middle, for example, and you can choose different styles for those as well. But it's not going to show up because I've got my background color set. Oops, hang on, I might do it to black. Just so you can see what I'm doing here. So you can have round, square, or just, no background. Totally up to you. And I would suggest you open links in a new window, once again, so that you don't have people leaving your course and then having to try and find their way back when they get distracted on social media. All right, so that is your course. Now, you might notice down here that we have this little drop-down box. So in the drop-down box, the things that you need to worry about are post and product. So product is like the home area for your course, and post is the individual lessons of your course. So within your course area, you've got this home, which is kind of like the navigation center, the information for your course, and then you actually have the individual posts in your course. I think it's just not happy because I tried to do too many things at once. All right, where are we at? Come on, Kajabi. All right, so now we're going to go into the post. And in the post in Kajabi, we've got these different layouts that we can do and a whole lot of different stuff that we can do as well. Now, you might notice this instructor bio is back. Now, this is one of the most frustrating things for some reason. If you update it on that homepage area, it does not automatically update it on your actual lesson. So you have to remember to update it twice. You might even want to get rid of it on this inside lesson. Totally up to you. This whole post sidebar, you can be like, I don't want it. I want to get rid of it. I'm going to show you where you can add the post downloads. If you do get rid of it because you do not want to get rid of the downloads altogether in case you have added things to your course. If you don't have any downloads, then you can get rid of it. But if you do have anything, then you don't want to get rid of it just yet. Now, the good thing is, again, notice that we are having this little blue border go around all these different aspects. So if you want to change anything, you can just click on it and it's going to take you over here. Now, with your player type, we can have a simple player, which is just the video, and you can just have back and next. You can have inline, which is going to be a smaller video, and it's going to actually have all of the lessons in that category displayed. And then you can actually play around and choose this player background color. You might be like, I don't really want to have it black. I want to have it in my colors, and you can play around with that, or you might even want to, oops, where are we going? Change it from defaults. So this is black, and then the color, so this is the background is now black and the color is orange, but we might want to double this up and have our player color. I'm just going to pick blue. These are just ugly Kajabi defaults, but that's going to change the actual player color, and it's going to change this little lesson here. But you'll notice the inside part of this is just faded a little bit, so you can see that. So you can play around, set that up in your brand colors, set it up however you would like. You can change all of these words: lesson, lessons, next category when that comes up, so it might not say next category. You can make that say whatever you want. Next and back, again, you can also change that. You can change your button styles in your post player, for example, solid, outline, sizing, colors, all the different things. So there's lots of things that you can do in here. It will automatically default to auto advance after 20 seconds, but you might want to change it so it auto advances after 5 seconds, for example. And this will say your next lesson will begin in, and so there's lots of different things that you can play around with in here. If there is no videos in your course, if it's a text only course, you can get rid of the videos, but if you do have thumbnails, then this is where they are going to show. So if you have thumbnails, then maybe you want to show it up through here. And then people can just click back, next. Mark as complete is another option. You might want to change that instead of mark as complete to just say done, or mark as done. There's different words that you can use in here, and this is going to show your next lesson as well. So I would recommend going through and playing around with this and turning things on and off, making it how you want. You might want to, hide or get rid of that mark as complete. Totally up to you. And also you can choose what actually goes into this area. You can choose in here what information. You might not want to have the category showing, for example. You might not even want to have the description. You might just want to have the explanation, the description and not the title. So you get to choose what you have in this area. The comments you have to turn on in the actual lesson itself. So that is where you turn comments on or off. In the back end, this is the front end where we're designing the student portal. That is where you turn the comments on and off. But there's so many different things that you can play around with and turn on, off, see what it looks like. And then once you're ready and once you're like, all right, I want to see what it looks like as a student, then you can just click up here. This is preview, and it is actually going to, let me just save it first. It is actually going to show you what your entire course is going to look like. Now we updated these colors, so, oh, no, we updated the whole thing. So we got rid of that area. It's going to let us see what everything looks like. So it's going to show the actual home area. It's going to show what happens when we click into the different lessons. So this one doesn't have a picture, which is why it's coming up like this. So that's when you're like, oh, I missed out adding a picture to that lesson or a thumbnail. So I need to remember to go back and do that. And this is how that text in your lesson is going to be displayed. And you can see that you've got comments. So you can go through and look at the different categories and see what is in here, see how it looks, make sure that you are happy with everything, and get an idea of what it is going to be like, and see that preview of your course. All right, this lesson, oh my gosh, this has been a monster workshop lesson going into all the things about creating a product. Normally in my Kajabi 101 course, I break this up into little steps, so it's a little bit easier to follow, but hopefully it has been helpful if you are wanting to create a course on Kajabi and get options, because options are always awesome. So just so you know, we were in the front end, the student facing part of the course, customizing it and making it our own. And then to actually edit the content and the lessons, the videos, all of the information, you do this in the back end, which is where you can also move things around, add your videos, put content into different categories, turn things on or off, etc. So if you have any questions at all about products in Kajabi, courses, memberships, workshops, mini courses, coaching programs, oh, and there is a new coaching program coming soon, all right, that is enough for this lesson. Have a beautiful evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you're watching this from. Bye for now.